Nashville, Tennessee. It's the Three. With the Studio C band. And here's your host, Laura Harris-Smith.
Hi everyone, I'm Laura Harris-Smith and welcome to this special edition of The Three. Some of you may remember that in season 1 of The Three, we had a full lineup of great guests and shows, all of which you can see by going to our website at www.thethree.tv. But 3 shows in particular proved to be a providential means to an end. Whenever we shoot The Three, we shoot many episodes at once, and it gives my guests opportunities to network and plan great things together in ministry. Well, you may remember we welcomed Mike Lindell, CEO and inventor of MyPillow, Lorraine Varela, photographer, woman of a million talents, but also author of Love in the Face of ISIS, and of course, who could forget Robia Scott, Hollywood actress and Christian speaker. Well, the 3 of them were not even supposed to meet because of the days on which their episodes were filmed. But thanks to an ice storm, God is the weatherman, flights were delayed and most of them met there and then connected with the other later on, but all because they had our show, The Three, in common. And now, all of these months later, the 3 of them have collaborated on a wonderful new film called Unplanned, the story of former Planned Parenthood director Abby Johnson and her journey from helping abort tens of thousands of babies to becoming a pro-life advocate, and now the hero of this great film. Well, I was invited to the set of Unplanned here in Stillwater, Oklahoma, where I got to reconnect with Robia, Mike, and Lorraine. And on day 17 of shooting, I caught them all in one spot and grabbed this interview. This is a special interview and a special episode, and it's part 1 of part 2. This week and next, you're going to get to hear interviews with the director, writers, cast, even backstage intercessors. I have never been on a movie set like this one with Unplanned, folks. Let's get started. Hey guys!
Hi!
I'm so happy you're all here.
Can you believe we're here?
No, I can't. It's such an, I mean, what are the odds?
Yeah, what are the odds we're all together again?
That's right. So the full story is that in season 1, I had each of these 3 guests on with me for different shows on The Three. Okay, so we had Lorraine Varela, she's an author. She was there. We did a show on ISIS with you and Tom Doyle, remember, and your book, Love in the Face of ISIS, and it was there that I discovered that you have a love for film, writing, photography. Like there's nothing that Lorraine Varela does not do. And then it was there that we also interviewed Robia Scott. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to drop some funny clips in there of your dance moves and everything. But
oh wait, hold on. You don't need clips. We can do it live right here, right now. It's always in there. Laura.
But that was the day you were on the show with my talent agent,
yes,
Stephanie Williams. So that was a wonderful show. Got to connect a little bit. And then you came in on day 3, did one show with you, and we had a show that canceled, a guest that had to cancel. And on the way out the door, one of my other guests, Cindy and Mike Jacobs, Mike said, Laura, you need to interview this guy twice. Do 2 shows on him. And I said, oh, I don't think he can stay. Right. I said, I don't even think that he can stay. And so evidently, you and my husband Chris were backstage discussing the same thing. Right. And you gave me a hearty yes.
Yeah, I said, how are we going to get all this content in one little half hour?
Well, just eating lunch with you, I knew that it was impossible. So we're going to get back to that in just a second. But what amazes me is that the 3 of you were there. We literally shot 18 shows in that week. And you all didn't cross paths, but some of you did, like back in the green room, you all kind of, and had, I don't know, developed a relationship. I was busy changing clothes in between segments and getting back out there with the guests and getting mic'd back up. But then I discovered, because God's the weatherman, a really incredible thing happened. We had an ice storm in Nashville, and it was the kind that shuts down the airports and cancels everybody's flights. And so your show had already been done?
That's correct.
Right, and so you were supposed to go home.
Right.
So then they cancel all the flights. We had to put you up again for the night. Well, then come on to dinner with us again. All the next night's guests
I was
are
just
coming
barely
in
landing.
because we have dinner every night with all the guests. You know, we have
Big party the night before, good party. And so you're sitting there and Robia walks in. You two never would have met.
That's right.
Never would have met. And I'm going to go one step further. Please tell us what happened that you said we wouldn't even be sitting here right now on the set of this movie had that encounter not happened. Tell
Right.
us.
Well, Robia and I were sitting at the table, but she was at the far end and I was at the other end, and I just overheard her say a few things about her former life as being an actress, but she left it behind. And I am a screenwriter, and I had this inspiration when I looked at her that I would be writing a film that would star Robia. And she hears this across the table and is like, "Are you talking about me?" So we had just a really brief connection after dinner that night. We exchanged information, and from there we just had a friendship. And I was at a Starbucks with the directors of this film, and we were talking about Robia's ministry and how she ministers in Hollywood. And I mentioned that she had been a former actress, and right away they got out their cell phones and they're like, "Okay, what's her IMDb, and does she have any reels, and we need to meet this woman." They didn't know anything about
She's only
you.
done like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and she was a dancer for Prince, but besides that,
Yeah.
not much, right?
I was surprised.
She
I
has
was
a full
shocked.
IMDb, I know.
But it was from years ago.
Right.
Years ago.
Well, that was part of the story on the show. Your story was
Yes.
how you had done all of this, and God called you out of that and mended and healed so many broken places in your heart. Your book is Counterfeit Comforts.
Yes, that's correct.
And the story was so powerful. I found it interesting that you came to the show to tell the story about how you laid it all down
And left Hollywood.
and left Hollywood, and then meet someone, and then boom, you're back in.
And it was so powerful because we never should have met each other.
Right.
Lorraine was at the airport ready to take off. My plane barely landed because of the snowstorm. So she, only because God somehow orchestrated all of these things that God can do, Lorraine happened to be in this dinner. We meet for a moment or two, and then here I am 13 years later. I did my last film 13 years ago. And then she introduces me, and now I'm back acting for the first time as a believer, which is pretty awesome because all my work prior was before becoming a Christian.
Right.
So now God, pulled me out for that season of time, and now has brought me back into my first role that really honors the kingdom with a whole set of people that are godly people, like-spirited, like-minded,
Wonderful.
doing a powerful kingdom movie. So it makes no sense, but it makes perfect sense according to how God works.
And can I just say, just being on set, that all of the chatter about Robia is that it's like you've never left Hollywood. Like, she was perfect for the role. She just came in and she knocked it out.
Thank you.
And they say that over and over and over again.
Okay, then let's talk about roles. What are you doing in this movie, Unplanned? Well, first of all, was it you that should do it? Tell us about the movie itself. Can you give us just a brief?
Briefly, Unplanned is a true story about a woman named Abby Johnson, Christian woman in college. She gets recruited. She has a heart to help people. She's trying to find her role in life.
Yes.
And so she gets recruited to start to work at Planned Parenthood. And she believes, by what she's been told, that is an opportunity for her to help women. So she goes up the corporate ladder, she is there giving and serving, and then she has one moment where she sort of goes behind the curtain, and she actually is involved in a procedure. And I don't want to give it away because the scene is so impactful and so powerful, but when she actually sees what is happening,
Yes.
the veil is lifted.
Yes.
And she realizes what she's a part of is not what she thought she was a part of. And then the whole film switches from her being pro-choice to pro-life. And I play the face really of Planned Parenthood. I play her boss and the clinic director.
We are paying you to be a perfect instrument of corporate policy, and corporate policy is simple. We are an abortion provider.
In Unplanned, you see the true agenda being revealed, and that honestly, Planned Parenthood is a multi-billion-dollar business.
Congratulations. You've managed to make an enemy of one of the most powerful organizations on the planet.
Okay, so as
The
you
bad
can, yeah, she's the bad lady. But if anybody could be the antagonist, we love to hate her. So don't go away, because when we come back, we're going to talk about the incredible opposition that there has really been. It's been occurring on and off, but consistently to get this message out there, to get this movie produced. And so I can't wait for you to hear all that God's doing on the set. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Laura Harris-Smith, inventor of Quiet Brain Essential Oil Blend. You know, if you would have told me 2 years ago when I was mixing that very first little bottle that we would have thousands of customers from all over the world and that we'd have to quadruple our staff to keep up with the demand produced by our international TV infomercial, I'm not sure I would have believed you. And if you told me I'd be hearing regular testimonies of improved sleep, reduced stress, migraine relief, even help with other neurological challenges like seizures, PTSD, tremors, muscle spasms, even anxiety, well, I probably would have cried. And sometimes when I'm reading a Quiet Brain testimony, I do. But if you would have told me 1 year ago when we introduced our Quiet Brain Variety Gift Box that it would become the biggest selling item on our online store at quietbrainoil.com, I would have said, I believe it. The reason is because I created the gift box to be the perfect combination of all of our Quiet Brain products. The oil itself for topical use on the skin that contains only certified pure oils that can cross the blood-brain barrier and bring speedy relief and neurological support. And our aromatherapy line with our Quiet Brain shampoo and conditioner, candles, inhalers, all of which use the nasal passages to gain direct access to the limbic brain, which is the emotional center of the brain. So whether you need to use Quiet Brain topically or aromatherapeutically, the Quiet Brain gift box has everything that you need. And now we've given our gift box an upgrade without increasing the price. It now comes with our satin Quiet Brain Sleep Eye Mask. Just put a few drops of oil on the nose guard and you're on your way to enjoying a good night's sleep. And it all comes packaged in a beautiful gift box and delivered to the destination of your choice or sent to you so you can use it for 7 different gifts or keep a few for yourself. When sold separately, the items in the box are $160, but you're getting it for $135. That's a $25 savings, meaning that you're getting the nasal inhaler and the shampoo and conditioner for free. The Quiet Brain gift box comes with 1 Whisper Quiet Nightlight diffuser with 16 color options and intermittent mist options, 1 dropper bottle of Quiet Brain, 1 Quiet Brain nasal inhaler, 1 Quiet Brain candle, the satin sleep eye mask, and your healing shampoo and conditioner. And remember, both are color safe, aloe enriched, paraben and sulfate free, loaded with wonderful ingredients like unscented coconut oil, olive oil, sugar beet betaine, and of course the Quiet Brain blend with its 8 essential oils like lavender, frankincense, myrrh, sandalwood, and more. We get repeated testimonies of both being used with great effectiveness during headaches for pain relief. So go to quietbrainoil.com to order. Quiet Brain is a great gift for any time of the year, but especially for seasons like these that bring additional stress. Give the gift of health and peace this year. Give the gift of Quiet Brain.
Welcome back to theTHREE from the set of the new movie, Unplanned.
Unplanned is, it's just my story. I worked at Planned Parenthood for 8 years. Loved my job, loved what I did, believed that I was helping women. That's how I got involved in Planned Parenthood. And then really had my eyes opened.
It just moved away from the catheter.
They always move. That's why I do it this way.
And I knew then that abortion took the life of an individual and unique human being. And I knew if those 2 things were true, then I was on the wrong side of this issue. I was on the wrong side of this debate.
We had a wonderful girl that we know by the name of Megan Harrington. She came up to us. She's a Hollywood producer. She came up to us and gave us the book Unplanned by Abby Johnson. Said, you should make this a movie.
I mean, someone that went from one side of the fence to literally the other side of the fence on such a hot button issue as abortion. To me, that's a powerful story. So as soon as we read the book, I was on board.
About a year and a half ago, we were coming together and praying about what are we going to do, what's up ahead, and we felt specifically at this time that it was time to make Unplanned.
I would get emails all the time from people who would say, I have no experience in film, but I read your book and I want to turn it into a movie.
I
actually believed Abby more when she came into my office and told me she was now pro-life than I believed Chuck and Carrie when they called and said, we're making a movie about Abby Johnson and we need to portray you and your wife. And I'm like, who is this?
Abby's story is the most powerful story that the pro-life world has experienced up until this point.
Sometimes the bravest thing you can possibly do is change your mind, and that's what Abby did.
Seeing both sides and still having that characteristic of passion and helping women is something that people are really going to resonate with.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Laura Harris Smith. You're watching The Three. I'm here with Mike Lindell, Robia Scott, and I always want to put Marie in there. Your middle name, is that all right?
Yes,
It's a beautiful name,
yes.
Marie Varela. It's so beautiful. My good friends, we're on the set of Unplanned, the Abby Johnson story, Planned Parenthood, and I want, before we get to the meat of the story, I want you to just tell us. You said you've actually had miracles happening on set here. We've prayed. What happened?
We have, well, besides just having so many healings from headaches and back pains and just different ailments that have been happening, where we come and we're called to pray for somebody, and within seconds, literally 30 seconds, people are immediately healed and back to work. I wanted just to share a story about what happened the first week of filming when our actress who plays Abby, Ashley Bratcher, was upstairs doing one of the most dramatic scenes from the film. And we were in the ministry RV across the street and praying, and I really felt the sense that I was to go across the street and be in that area, even though I knew that I needed to be very inconspicuous. I didn't want to be in her sight line, I didn't want to interrupt anything, but I just felt this compelling spirit to go over. So I watched and I saw this really dramatic moment in the storyline, and so I basically hid myself in the corner. And when the director said cut and she got up and walked out, I turned my back just so she wouldn't see me, not knowing she was going to the back room, texting me saying, "Hey Lorraine, is the ministry team around? I really need prayer." And so we were on it immediately, and she said the reason she needed prayer, she was having a hard time with this scene, that because she had been in her trailer before this scene happened, and she'd been praying that the Holy Spirit would show her God's heart and what she needed to pull out. And she had a vision of seeing thousands and thousands of beautiful children the world had never met.
Wow.
And they were waiting to embrace her. And she heard the Father say how proud he was of her. And she wanted to carry that spirit with her into the scene. So we prayed for her, we laid hands on her, she went back in. And not only did she capture that, but she did so well that this scene was supposed to be a voiceover scene. She was just supposed to reenact so they could later record her audio. And she did such a good job that they just said, no, we're going with that. The emotion was just carried, and it was beautiful. Awesome. And the presence of God fell on the set. It was amazing.
And the crew were crying.
Yes,
People were emotional.
It was, the whole next day we were emotional still.
We all have a story, and I think the impact that a true story can have, you just can't deny.
Everything we've done in this movie is absolutely true. We haven't added or detracted from anything. We just tell the story straight as it is.
You would think it's a film about life ending, but in many ways, it's a film about life beginning again.
You actually get to encounter what women go through. You actually get to see what the reality is. I think that's going to be huge for people and be mind-changing.
What this film does is allow us to look behind the curtain, look behind all the social media, see what's really happening in the clinic from an insider's perspective.
There's never been a movie like this, and it's going to get labeled so many things. It'll be the anti-Planned Parenthood movie, the anti-abortion movie, the anti-woman movie, the anti-fill-in-the-blank, right? But the reality and the problem for the abortion industry is that it's true.
I think once they see what's going on and watch the movie, I would say that there are going to be a lot of people going, wow, I can't believe this was even happening in our country.
We moved forward in faith all throughout prep without knowing that we had the money to make the film until we got really close to shooting. And I had employees that were on for 10 weeks that didn't know if they'd had a job the next week. You know, I would tell them, okay, we can go another week and you're employed, and hope you show up on Monday because we're not sure we have enough to pay you for the following week. So there's a commitment level that begins there when people would say, I'm so committed to this project, I want to be here, I want to be a part of this, I want to see this thing through. That kind of buy-in is not the same as I'm just showing up for a paycheck.
We slid into the week before we were scheduled to start shooting with our financing incomplete and without a lead female for the role to play Abby Johnson.
Which you're not supposed to do.
And rather than
with
do
a week left.
And we were unable to push the beginning of our shooting dates.
Now Monday morning, we're shooting. We got a 4,000 square foot set. We have 150, 200 people working. We've got millions of dollars at stake here. And the Thursday night, we still don't have a lead. We got to do hair, makeup, change her hair to red.
52 wardrobe looks
52.
in the movie, and she hasn't, and no one started lining up her clothing yet. I mean, this is
because we didn't know who it was going to be. So we're going through the list. Literally one by one, I'm getting chopped down. The last person on my desk is this person, Ashley Bratcher.
When I first auditioned for Unplanned, I didn't really know who Abby was, and I was so compelled just from those 3 pages of sides. I got online immediately. I listened to her testimony. I watched her videos on YouTube, and listening to Abby speak and tell her story, I was floored. I mean, I was just ugly crying, and it really hit home for me on a very personal level. And I was just so moved by it that I went home and I told my husband, I said, I need to be a part of this film.
She then sends us 2 emails with passion that was so powerful, and then speaks to us on the phone and says, all I can say is 2 years ago, the Lord spoke to me and told me he had a mighty work for me to do, but I was not ready. But when I was, he would tell me what it was and would bring it forward. And she says, I know this is my story to tell.
Her story
and she was so passionate.
I was warned by multiple people, even people who knew that I had auditioned and just read the script, said, you'll never work again. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Don't do it. And I said, there's no way I can't not do it.
She is Abby Johnson. Even Abby Johnson, when she was on the set, said, that's me.
Hi, Laura Harris-Smith here, and you know by now that it's a passion of mine to see people get healthy body, mind, and spirit. As a nutritionist and as someone who almost lost her life due to a lack of proper sleep, I'm convinced that sleep is the most important but the least emphasized puzzle piece for total body health. I created my Quiet Brain Essential Oil Blend to offer support to sufferers of migraine, tremor, PTSD, anxiety, seizures, and more. But one of the most frequent testimonies we get from all over the world is that it helps with insomnia. People are sleeping better with Quiet Brain. But my other passion is helping people hear God's voice, not just during the day while awake, but also at night while they sleep and dream. And that's why I wrote Seeing the Voice of God, what God is telling you through dreams and visions. And now my 2 worlds, that is author and inventor, really come together on this topic of sleep and dreams through my Sweet Dreams package. You get 1 rollerball bottle of Quiet Brain, which is comprised of lavender, frankincense, myrrh, sandalwood, and more, and a copy of Seeing the Voice of God, complete with a 1,000 symbol dream dictionary for interpreting your dreams, and instructions on which vitamins and minerals to help you better remember your dreams. Sleep is the mattress of dreams, so grab this offer while it's still available. 1 copy of Seeing the Voice of God and 1 rollerball bottle of Quiet Brain for easy application. And, while supplies last, a free Quiet Brain satin sleep eye mask. So take back your sleep with Quiet Brain and take back your dreams with Seeing the Voice of God. Order today at quietbrainoil.com.
Welcome back to The Three from the set of the new movie, Unplanned.
So I had already come to Oklahoma and I had been working for a couple of days, and my mom called me. I don't have a wonderful relationship with my parents. I had kind of a rocky childhood. My mom had always been very open with me when I was younger that she had had an abortion before me. And she had always said things like, I was gonna abort you, but I chose not to. Like, I could never do that. But I did know that when I got ready to tell my mom that I was doing this movie and start explaining who Abby is and what the film's about, that she might have an emotional reaction. And she did. But more than I anticipated. I could just feel her weeping through the phone, and I said, Mom, I said, Mom, what's wrong? And she said, you don't know this, but I was there in the clinic. They had called my name, and I was in the room to abort you. And I got up and walked out. And I had no idea.
And so you were literally 10 seconds away from an abortion. Now 30 years later, she's going to become the face of the pro-life world. Can God cook or what?
It's a very different concept to hear someone say, you know, abortion was an option, but I chose not to do that. As opposed to hearing you're seconds away, just minutes, seconds away from never having existed. But it's really evidence that God has just planned my steps long before I ever stepped foot on earth to be here doing this today.
She was created before time by God for this moment, for a time such as this.
So I guess technically I'm an abortion survivor, and I never knew it.
This is truly a before I formed you in the womb, I knew you moment. She was created to play this role.
That's so powerful. So very powerful. Oh my goodness, I wish we had more time. It always flies so quickly. We did it, and there's not even an ice storm, so I kind of wish something would happen.
Wait, hold on.
It's good to be back together anyway.
It is good to be back together.
Reunited, and it feels so good.
Oh my goodness, only Rovia. I just want to tell you guys, I honestly, thank you so much. As we are here in season 2 of The Three, do you see what happens when you give and we are able to be on air? And it's not just about the shows that we've done. We've done shows on human trafficking and racism. We've done shows on ISIS and all kinds of shows, but also behind the scenes. Gatekeepers are coming together and they are forming alliances and doing projects together that are changing the world. So when you help The Three stay on air, which we need you to do, that is what happens with your love gifts. I've always said, you know, this is my 50th year in television. I've been in TV commercials since I was 3 years old. I know, I'm really old. And so, but I always say that, you know, I had a TV career. What I really want is a TV family. I feel the same way about Jesus. You know, he had a son, but he wanted a family, and he sent Jesus to come and get us. And so I feel the same way. I've had the TV career. I want a TV family, and that's what you are when you become a donor for The Three. You can go to my website at www.thethree.tv. I'm going to say goodbye for now, guys. It's the week for you to go see this movie. Follow the link on your screen and find a showing near you. Don't miss it. Thanks, guys. Everybody, love you guys so much. Bye-bye. See you next time on The Three.